welcome back to episode 4 of Tommy versus Time. This episode we're going to be doing Moroccan mussels. This one I'm, again, weirdly optimistic about. I know last time we kind of bit the bullet on that one. We were quite behind on the time, but I actually think this one will work just because mussels cook extremely quickly, and I also think just because in general the way that you have to prep everything is actually pretty straightforward. Alright guys, so if you've been enjoying the episodes, feel free to go check some of those other ones out after you finish watching this one. I promise this one will be pretty interesting. As always, we're also going to rank this on a couple of different metrics. Basically just the 4 that I've been kind of using for now, which are the cost, the ease of use, obviously we're going to want to know how it tastes, and finally the time. Now guys, these are very subjective. Obviously, maybe something that I think tastes really good you may not like. Something that's too spicy for you might not be too spicy for me. There's all kinds of things like that you have to take into account. So this is my own interpretation of that. But in general, I can kind of vouch for them at least on the cost and the time. Obviously ease of use and taste is a little bit more subjective. So take that with a grain of salt. So if you guys have been enjoying the videos, guys, don't forget to drop a sub or just hit the bell or whatever the thingy is down there. Whatever helps you remind you that there's another video coming, guys. We're gonna have a bunch of these going, and of course you can go check them out on the channel. I also stream on Twitch, guys, live every day except for Wednesdays and Sundays. And we typically do a cooking stream on a Saturday or a Sunday, basically on the weekend, so you can always come and check that out. But feel free to go, peruse the site. So guys, if you're thinking Moroccan mussel sounds a little bit weird, you're not the only one. When I actually saw this recipe, I kind of just thought, well, that's kind of odd. Like usually I think of lemon and maybe some tomato or some white wine, something, some butter and shallots, that kind of thing, more traditional. But this one caught my eye, and so what really makes this Moroccan is the harissa paste. Now I actually couldn't find any harissa paste. I had to find a harissa powder, which is going to be just fine. We're going to mix that with a bit of oil and some tomatoes, and we'll be just fine, I think. So we're kind of, I guess, playing it off a little bit here, but it should work just fine. And I'm actually pretty excited for this one, guys, because like I said, I actually think we're going to be able to get this in the 15 minutes just because, again, mussels cook extremely quickly. So I'm hopeful, but we'll see what happens, guys. So as always, guys, before we get into the ingredients, let's check out some of that sweet, sweet B-roll. Okay, so with the beautiful B-roll out of the way, guys, let's check out our ingredients. All right, folks, so here's a look at what Jamie Oliver's final product looks like. Obviously, it looks quite nice. It looks fairly simple, but I promise you it will taste delicious. Now, with that being said, guys, let's jump into our first ingredient, which of course is going to be our mussels. So for the mussels, we have about 1 pound of mussels, guys. You'll want to remove the beards from these. These are just the little sort of strings that hang off the outside. Just give them a quick pull and they should come right off. The cucumber salad, we'll be using 1 head of lettuce. I chose Boston Bib, but you can use whatever you like. Next, for our toasties, well, you're going to grab your favorite bread. In this case, I chose some ciabatta rolls because they were cheap and I like them. You also want to grab a jar of tomato sauce, whatever you like. In this case, I just want something really basic without additional flavors. You also want to grab yourself half of an English cucumber, which we'll be grating down later. You also want to grab some sun-dried tomato pesto, which we'll be spreading on our nice toasted ciabatta bread. You, of course, want some harissa, which you will be using 2 to 3 teaspoons. Now, guys, in this case, I can only find this seasoning in this form, but you do want to find the paste as it does taste a bit better. Next, you want to grab yourself 1 wonderful yellow lemon, which we will be using the zest of and the juice. Next, you want to grab yourself a bunch of cilantro. Now, you can use as much or as little as you want, but you could also switch this out for basil if you'd like. So next up is some mint, which you'll be using a few fresh sprigs of. You also want to grab 3 cloves of fresh garlic, followed by a pinch of saffron. Now, guys, this is expensive, so be careful not to use too much. Next, you'll need a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. Now, guys, with all those ingredients listed, we gotta do one last thing, which is to start our timer. Set that timer for 15 minutes, and let's get rolling. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do, guys, is grab our cilantro, roll it up nice and tight, and give it a quick dice. You're going to want to dice it fairly fine just so you can spread it over the top of our delicious mussels at the end. So next we're going to grab our 3 cloves of garlic, give those a quick smash before we load up our garlic press like so, and give it a quick squeeze. Once you finish pressing your garlic, we're going to move to our stove, which is at medium-high heat already. We're going to remove the lid and put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil down. To that, we're going to add our garlic and our cilantro before we add in our harissa. To that, we're going to quickly add our 2 teaspoons of harissa, guys, and once you have that in there, you're going to quickly stir it, and you should hear something that sounds like this. Now this is already smelling amazing, but we got to actually add our tomato sauce pretty quickly here just so we don't burn anything. So with the tomato sauce, you can add as much or as little as you want. In this case, I added about 500 milliliters of tomato sauce. And obviously, once you've added that, you're going to give this a quick stir just to incorporate all those delicious flavors. Once all our flavors are incorporated, we're going to quickly add our lemon zest here, guys. Now, be careful not to add too much, but you don't also want to grate it too hard because you get the white part, which is bitter. With everything in the pan, we're going to quickly season with some salt and some black pepper. So there you go, guys. The sauce is now done. We're going to let that simmer on low heat until we're ready to add in our mussels. So with that done, we're going to move back to our prep station where we're going to cut our bread in half here just to have it ready for toasting a little bit later. So we're going to move that off to the side before we move on to our lettuce. So for the lettuce, we're just going to quickly cut off the bottom before we cut this into nice even quarters. Now you can cut it however you want, but this just looks nicer for presentation, as you can kind of see. So up next is our English cucumber, which we're going to cut in half before removing the plastic and then getting ready to move on to our grater. Now guys, with the grater, I recommend a coarser one because it's faster and also because it's a little bit easier to grate a cucumber on to begin with. With the grating done, you're going to want to transfer all of this beautifully shaved down cucumber into a bowl before putting a little bit of salt on and squeezing out the excess water. Now guys, this is important because you do not want all that extra liquid. As you can see, there's a lot of liquid in these cucumbers, so try to squeeze that out in a bowl or through a sieve. With all the liquid removed, we're going to put those cucumbers back in a bowl before we add our 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. Now guys, you can use any kind of yogurt that you like, but just make sure it's plain. I don't think you're going to like this if you put vanilla. So to add another layer of freshness to this salad, guys, we're going to finally slice some of our mint before majestically spreading it on top. So with our poor attempt at being artistic out of the way, let's cut a lemon into quarters here, and we're going to grab the juice of one of these and put that in quick, just to add some more of that acid that we're going to need, and also some liquid into this concoction. Now guys, this is going to be pretty messy initially, but once you start mixing it, you'll see that all that liquid kind of just gets taken up by the yogurt, and you end up with a really nice and very refreshing mix of cucumber and kind of a sauce, almost like a tzatziki, as you can kind of see. So with the wonderful salad topping out of the way, let's move back to the stove. So to our sauce, we're going to add our 1 pound of mussels. Now you're going to want to throw these in here and quickly stir them before putting our lid back on. So with the mussels simmering away, we're going to move to our bread and quickly toast this in a cast iron pan before moving back to our mussels, which are simmering away. Now guys, once you do this, give it a quick stir, but please make sure to throw out any mussels that have not opened. With any mussels thrown out, it's time to listen to what this sounds like. Now I know you could listen to that all day, but we got stuff to do, so we're going to move back to our prep station where we're going to rub some crushed garlic over our toasted bread. Now guys, I don't find this works all that well, but you know, it's an added flavor before we put in our sun-dried tomato. Now you can add as much or as little as you want, but I would say to use about roughly a tablespoon or so per piece of bread. In his case, I have 4, so about 4 tablespoons here is what I use total. Once you have that unctuous, delicious pesto on there, you're going to want to cut these into quarters. So with that done, you should have something that looks like this. Now we're going to move on to the prep of our salad. So on a serving platter, you're going to neatly display your quartered lettuce head, and you're going to dump our wonderful cucumber sort of dressing on there. Now guys, you can use again as much or as little as you want. Don't go too crazy because the sauce does go a long way and it looks amazing. All right, so it's time to prep our final ingredient, which is our mussels. So here it is, guys. Our plate of mussels are ready to go. We just got to garnish it with our cilantro before we take a couple of nice close-up shots just for you guys to, well, drool a bit more. So yes, it is beautiful to look at, but we do got to do one last thing, which is check our timer. And guys, we did it. 17 seconds left to spare. That is it. Skin of our teeth, but we did do it, and I'm so ecstatic, guys. It's amazing that we finally got one. It's our first one in 4 episodes, so cheers to us, and hopefully more to come. All right, guys, so there we go. We did it. We actually got something done in less than 15 minutes with what? less than 20 seconds to spare. That is the first time we've made it. I'm super excited. Guys, I'm gonna take a quick bite and we'll let you know what I think. Right away, guys, one thing I really, really like about this is that little bit of spice that the harissa brings. Just has a lot of complexity of flavor, some pepper, some spice, just some cumin, something in there that's kind of got that earth tone to it. It's really delicious. I gotta say, guys, for the time that it took to make this, super impressed with how easy it was. I'm gonna be eating pretty much most of these, if not all of them. We'll see. I might share a few. We'll see. But guys, super simple recipe to make. You'll see the scoring all up here, which I'll walk you through in a second. All right, guys, so let's walk through the scoring. As you guys know, we rank each category out of 10, except for time, which is pass-fail. And not surprisingly, as you saw, we had 17 seconds left to spare, so we actually passed. This is our first passing grade for time, which is amazing. That is done. Yeah, I'm just really excited that we did it. First one in 4 episodes, so hopefully we have more like this in the future. So guys, for taste, I am giving this a 9 out of 10. This was actually delicious. The harissa is really nice in here. Of course, the tomato and the garlic, can't go wrong with that either. The bread and all that other stuff on the side was nice, but really the mussels really steal the show. And I was actually pretty surprised with the salad. It was really quick and easy to make, and that kind of cucumber sort of pseudo tzatziki sauce was actually quite refreshing as well and cuts through a bit of the heat from the mussel. So 9 out of 10 on this one, guys. So guys, for easy use, I'm actually giving this a 10 out of 10. I mean, there was nothing special to do here. Basically, a bit of chopping, and then you throw some mussels in there that cook really quickly. Now, you could argue that if you have to de-beard the mussels, that might be a little bit tricky the first time, but luckily the ones I had purchased were not full of beards, and it really didn't take me very long to prep. So for cost, guys, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10. It was $4.13 per plate. Now, this could have been reduced in cost a little bit, I think, if we had not needed saffron. The saffron adds a bit of flavor, but honestly, I don't think it adds that much flavor. And if I use more of it, it obviously costs me even more. So overall, 8 out of 10, $4.13 a plate, very manageable, and you get 4 pretty good servings out of it. So overall, if I can do math, that's a 27 out of 30, which is actually our best score as of yet. So we also pass on time, so this has been really, really excellent. Guys, I really recommend you do try out this recipe because it is actually that easy and pretty affordable. All right, guys, so that'll do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it, and of course, guys, look forward for that next video that we'll be doing, hopefully fairly soon. They take me a little bit of time to edit and do all that stuff, guys, but again, check out the channel for more cooking videos. We're gonna try to get through some other ones soon, possibly seafood. More seafood? I don't know. We'll see. But guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.